Today's video is addressed to those of you that are already retired, ones that I call Six and Sixers. My name is William Hutchison. I'm the owner of the two real estate companies that you see in the thumbnail, along with my wife, in Armenia, Colombia, where I've lived for 12 years in about another month, and 13 years in Colombia. What do I mean by Six and Sixers? Six and Sixers are those of you that are retired. You spend 6 months in your home city, your hometown, in perhaps all of North America. And the other 6 months you go to Florida, Arizona, perhaps Costa Rica, Mexico, Panama. My suggestion now is that you spend those other 6 months in Colombia. You get outside the box a little. You get into a different culture. For those of you that are in Arizona and Florida, if you're in Mexico, then you have a very similar culture to here. Panama and Costa Rica, a little less so. But it's a chance to experience everything that Colombia and particularly Armenia has to offer. Colombia was just rated by Forbes magazine the third most beautiful country in the world. So the scenery, the vistas here are absolutely breathtaking. Number one was Indonesia and two was New Zealand. So if Colombia is not number three, it's certainly in the top five in the world. You would come here and live for somewhere between $800 and $900 a month. And how do we do that? You rent a fully furnished apartment. That would run around $500 a month. Your services would be less than $100. Now that's your water, your hydro energy, your gas for heating and hot water, and your high-speed internet, and perhaps 100 or 120 channels of television. Some of them you can get in English. You would eat very well for $250 a month, very well. I'm not including outside meals, I'm not including alcohol or those sorts of things. But the $250 a month would also cover off anything that you could buy at the grocery store. It would include paper towel, toilet paper, shampoos, all of those sorts of things. So at $500 for your apartment, no more than $100 for services, less. It would come in around $80 or $85. And your food, you're at $850 a month. My guess is, and I don't know the market, my guess is that renting a trailer in Florida for 6 months would probably cost you $850 or $900 a month, to say nothing of something like here in a gated community or a secure condominium for that total price. You would pay the rental upfront. There's no issue with that. In Colombia, in many cases, they want a cosigner. You wouldn't have it, but money talks. So you pay the 6 months up front and you get a receipt for it. What do you do while you're here? You have a lot of time on your hands, and there's lots to do. We're available for just about anything. We have the Get to Know Armenia package, which you can have a look at. I don't force sale anything, but things that you need here, we're available for. There's a lot of little towns to have a look at. Any hobby that you are engaged in now, you can take up in Colombia. Bird watching, for example, is phenomenal. There's 1,900 different bird species here. And an ornithologist article that I read about maybe a month ago now suggested that there might be 200 more varieties that haven't been recorded. So if that is one of the things you like to do, there's all kinds of hiking. There's a group that I can recommend. It's called Expats of Armenia, Quindío, Colombia. If you're on Facebook, you can get into that group. There's a lot of good information there. There's a lot of planned activities that people, expats, organize. There's lots of little towns around Armenia to visit. The bus service is fantastic. And that's the type of activity you can get involved in. The one big thing I think that's really nice is you get into a different culture. If you like to try different foods, you can eat Colombian food. It's pretty basic. I have on my channel here, I think 4 restaurant reviews, 3 of them that we go to on my Get to Know Armenia package, but another one, Donde El Tocayo, that's owned by a good friend of mine, for Colombian style breakfast and lunches. I think it's something that you could look at. You're not ready to permanently cut the ties and retire somewhere, be it in the United States or one other country or Colombia, but it's a completely different experience to what you're used to now. The nice thing about it too is you're coming for 6 months and you can get on a tourist, some people call it a visa, others call it a privilege, a permit, whatever you want. But when you arrive, you get 90 days at the airport as a tourist, and it can be renewed locally for another 90 days for very little cost. So that covers off your whole 6 months here. There's no tax implications. You have to be here 182 or 183 days to become a tax resident. And you can't do that on those 2 visas because they only total 180. I think it's something worth considering if you want to expand your horizons a little, get outside the box. It's a beautiful place to spend some time. And you never know, you may find that the lifestyle here is something that you find very attractive. The climate in Armenia, 80 every day, 60 every night. There's a couple of microclimates. If you go a little farther north, 5, 6, 7 kilometers, it's cooler. At the airport, it's 3 or 4 degrees warmer. So you can choose exactly the climate that you like. No humidity to speak of. It's just a beautiful place to live. That's it for today. William Hutchison, Armenia Colombia Realty for Expats, and Salento Colombia Realty, signing off. As I say in all my videos, and it's in the comment section as well, I live in paradise, and you can too.